Hey everyone, welcome to Division 4 Live. If you have the power to accept your failures, then you have the power to solve the challenge. My name's Chuck Jackson. I am the 4th Division Commander, and tonight we are going to be taking a look at failing forward to success. Pretty cool. There's 3 facts I know about failure. We're going to look at each one a little bit more in depth. The first one is everybody fails. No one's perfect. The goal in failure should be honesty and awareness. You know, if we're ridiculously in charge of our life, if we take ownership, then we also have the power to solve the challenge and move forward. Second one is nobody enjoys it. I don't know anybody says, yes, I was not paying attention and I back into the car or something like that. Nobody enjoys failing. I get it, but it is a part of moving forward. And the third thing is anybody, test 1, 2, anybody can fail forward once they are taught. So let's take a look at everybody fails. Okay, no one's perfect. Show of hands or give me a thumbs up or something down there so I can see it. Who's failed before, right? We could be sending thumbs up all day long. Nobody's perfect. The second thing is a leader has to be authentic and transparent about failure. You know, I remember, this is probably about 4 or 5 years ago now, I was at a National Leadership Academy. And I was with 2 other division commanders from 1st and 3rd Division. And I had the keys to the barracks. And I locked the keys to the barracks inside the barracks. And I had all these young Marines, they're trying to get into the barracks and they can't because the doors are locked. I don't have the keys. I had to walk over to the Army billeting office and actually get the keys or a spare key. That was embarrassing enough. And then go back. I didn't try to cover anything. I just said, hey, I locked the keys inside the barracks. It is what it is. None of us are perfect. The third thing, have integrity about your failures. They can actually boost your self-esteem. If you keep on blaming, you know, the weather, whatever, somebody else, your 3rd cousin from your 4th uncle or something like that for your failures, you know you're lying to yourself. And that can actually lower your self-esteem. So it's much easier if you just admit your failures and then start working on a way, learn from them, of course, and start working on a way to overcome them. Nobody enjoys it. This is the only point I want to talk about on this. We know nobody enjoys it, right? But separate yourself from your failure. Just because you failed doesn't mean that you're a failure. The minute you start IDing yourself with that action, that's bad juju. That's not going to serve you well. It's not going to help you get out of the situation. And it can start a downward spiral on your self-esteem or your self-confidence. Admit that you failed, but never admit that you are a failure. And this is the last one I want to bring up, is anybody can fail forward once they are taught. Now we're going to get into this one just a little bit, and I might have to read from my notes over here on the side. One is make every failure a learning experience. Now, one of the major premises in leadership is that responsibility and authority go hand in hand. We call that, in quantum leadership, you call it dynamic stability. There has to be a stability of authority and responsibility have to be co-equal. If responsibility and authority aren't co-equal, then projects are hindered, things get out of balance, and sometimes projects will even halt or they never get executed, right? It's operationally goofy not to have authority and responsibility at the same level with each other. Now, think this through for a second. Until you have taken responsibility for your failure, I don't care if a hurricane passed through and that's why you didn't accomplish the mission. Don't blame the hurricane. Once you start taking responsibility, once you stop making excuses, then you'll have the authority, the power to correct it. Isn't that cool? So if you go from the thought that you are absolutely in charge of your life and that you take responsibility for all the failures that are under your purview, that will give you all the authority to correct the situation. If you don't do that, what will happen is you will lack the authority to correct the situation, and you'll just keep on making the same mistake over and over and over again. Isn't that cool? I love that. Believe in yourself and go further the next time. You have to say to yourself, man, I got this. Can you imagine Edison? I don't know, like 10,000 times he failed at making a light bulb. And if he gave up after the 50th or 500th or 5,000th time, I'd be doing this video, with candles, Woo-hoo. There it is, my candle. Who wouldn't have light bulbs? You see, he failed, he analyzed, he learned, and he went a little bit further. Failed, analyzed, learned, went a bit further. Failed, analyzed, learned, went a bit further. And that's how we all achieve success. It would be cool if it was just one long straight road with no bumps, no curves, and nothing, but life just isn't like that, right? So we take ownership, we take responsibility, we have the power and authority to do it, we believe in ourselves, and then always remember, today matters because yesterday is over. Sure, you can bring some of the good feels from yesterday in if you want, some of your victories, right? Those are important to build self-efficacy and self-esteem and self-confidence, but yesterday's over. I don't care how bad you failed. Yesterday's over. I don't really care if you brought world peace. Yesterday is still over. I don't care if you were an awesome leader 4, 5, 6 months ago, 6 years ago, or 60 years ago. It's over. What are you doing today? The content that I shared last week, maybe it sucked, maybe it didn't, but it's over. What can I do today? Can I make better content today? Can I present better today? Is there a new way of doing things? We should always be on this growth pattern. I think to myself, did I learn a new concept? Did I learn a new application, a new paradigm to solve a problem? Or am I just resting on stuff? So those are the things I wanted to leave with you tonight. And the main point is anybody can fail forward once they're taught. I'll leave you with a quote from Winston Churchill. He said, "Success is going from failure to failure without a loss of enthusiasm." So let's be successful. As always, I love the thumbs up. I like the comments. Just keep those coming. Let me know if I'm on track. Don't be afraid to message me if you have something else that you want me to teach on, or if you have questions or anything else like that. Not problems. Stick to your chain of command on that. But I'd be happy to teach and instruct. Next Sunday, I actually have Jason on here. He's the new executive director for the Young Marine Alumni Association. And I'm really anxious to see where he's going to take that and how that's going to be developed. So make sure you stay tuned for Sunday's broadcast. Until then, Gunny's out.